Bonnie, would you inform these people about the burning of the courthouse?
Oh, indeed. I thank you, Mr. Senator. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to be here tonight. Now, ordinarily, under these circumstances, I would be called upon to deliver an oration of some 2 or 3 hours, but I believe the Senator has asked me to make a few brief remarks concerning the burning of the courthouse. Now, I was elected sheriff in 1861 on the Republican ticket, the party of Mr. Lincoln, and the good senator. So in 1861, I was sheriff of Madison County. And it came to 1864, and it was October 11th, 1864. And it was 2:30 in the morning. The jailhouse was right next door. That's also the sheriff's residence. I was there in that house. 2:30 in the morning, I heard yells of fire, fire, up and down the street. And I looked out the window towards the courthouse, the 1849 courthouse opened that year. And there were flames coming out of the front windows, and there were flames in the cupola. And the firemen were starting to respond, and they were coming to the little engine house across the street. Their first reaction was to run to the fountain out front and get their buckets and start a bucket brigade trying to put out the fire. And they would pass the leather buckets back and forth. And finally they pulled out our pumper that we had just purchased. The village had just purchased it in 1852. And they pulled the pumper over across the street. And they put the hoses into the fountain. And they got the men onto the brakes of the pumper. And they started pumping. And they pumped and they pointed the hoses towards the courthouse, which was now fully engulfed. And a trickle of water came out of the hose. It seems the hoses had been cut. Well, my goodness, who could have done something like that? Now, let me think. At that time, there were some indictments against the Loomis family. I think it was with boys, 3 of the boys. And the indictments were thought to be kept in the courthouse. So, amazingly enough, court was to meet the next day. And that night, at 3 o'clock, the courthouse burns down.
Terrible lightning storm.
No. We saw in the crowd at 3 o'clock in the morning, right here in this village of Morrisville, George Washington Loomis Jr., known as Wash, and one of the members of that gang of vipers from Sanderfield. And I am positive. Now, please, I was given the unenviable task of keeping an eye on these 2 lovely ladies. Let me introduce Mrs. Rhoda Loomis and Miss Cornelia Loomis, my daughter. Yes, now, Wash Loomis was seen in Morrisville at 3 a.m. in the morning. What was he doing here in Morrisville?
Well, he was here on business.
Well, what was your business?
None of your business.
Mrs. Loomis. So the courthouse burned down. It burned.
I was just checking your time.
Yes, I have a watch. Yes. People, please, keep your wallets deep in your pockets. The courthouse burned down. And it wasn't until 1865 that this wonderful edifice was constructed. And many times we tried to bring the Loomises to justice. And as Senator Nye said, every time we would bring them into court, well, the witnesses wouldn't show up, or they would recant. And why do you think that happened? Did you have anything to do with that?
Oz? Of course not.
Of course not.
The brothers were working. They were so busy.
Your brother, what business were they in again? Wasn't it something to do with horses? Didn't they have a certain liking? Bought and sold
Horses, yes.
I hope everyone has their horse securely tied out back. Otherwise, you may not find it there, or it may be a different color when you go out. it's your mother's. Yes, yes. How many children were there in your family anyway?
Oh, I think it was 14, but only 10 or 12 lived to adulthood.
How old are you now anyway?
Let's see, I was born in 1794, 216.
Well, she doesn't look a day over 200. Absolutely, just looks wonderful.
It was such a love. Couldn't you just
Oh,
see?
yes, and indeed the hour grows late, and yes, it's getting,
Isn't it?
yes, it is. Who would like to look at it? Yes, that watch was given to me by my son Will over in Hamilton. You know, he studied to be a lawyer. And, ladies, back here, you stop right where you are, and come back right here. Now, I'm the sheriff of this county, and I'm ordering you to come back here.
Oh.
And where did that watch go? Watch? What watch?
This is my watch.
There's another watch. This is what we had to put up with all those years with
Oh, I
that
think there was a
nested
watch
lighter.
tower.
No, then sit down, both of you.
Is it time for the movie?
They are so impertinent. They have no respect for the law, and no less for me.
Or me.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of the burning of the courthouse. Now, you know, I put out a $1,000 reward for anybody that could prove who was responsible for the burning of the courthouse. And that reward has never been collected. So if any of you,
$1,000. You got an extra?
if any of you have any evidence that the Loomises were involved in the burning of the courthouse, come forward and I will be sure to see that you get that $1,000. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening to the story of the burning of the courthouse and putting up with the Loomis family.